Okay, tell me if this sounds familiar. You spent years collecting five-star reviews. You've begged for them. You've emailed your customers. You sent up follow-up texts or called, or maybe now you've got 100 of these great Google reviews sitting on your Google business profile right now, and they're all glowing. Well, here's the part that nobody told you. When somebody asks ChatGPT to recommend a business just like yours, well, all those five-star reviews, they might not matter at all because AI doesn't read your reviews the way a human does. And most businesses are about to find that out the hard way. Hi there, it's Adrian from Numero Uno Web Solutions, and today I'm going to show you why your reviews just got a brand new boss, what AI actually looks for now, and exactly what to do about it. Because the old playbook of just get more five-star reviews is officially broken. So let's go. So let me back up and explain exactly what's changed, because this is bigger than just reviews. So for 20 years, getting found meant ranking on Google. You had those 10 blue links. You'd be found near the top. People would just click through. Then that local pack showed up. It's that little box of 3 businesses that are on the map, and that became the prize for local service businesses. But now a huge chunk of your customers aren't searching anymore. They're asking. They open ChatGPT or Gemini or Google's AI and they type a full question, something like, who's a good roofer near me that does flat roofs? And the AI doesn't hand them a list to sort through. It just picks one. It gives them maybe 2 or 3 names and then a reason. And essentially that's it. So I want you to think about what that means. Google's local pack shows 3 businesses, sure, and you can scroll and you can see more, you can compare, whatever. But AI is going to give you the short list and move on. And if you're not on that short list, you don't get a worse spot. You get no spot. You're just gone. So guys, 2026 Local Visibility Index analyzed over 350,000 business locations across 2,751 brands. ChatGPT recommends just 1.2% of local business locations. Gemini, 11%. Perplexity, 7.4%. So compare that to Google's local 3-pack at 35.9%. That means that AI is up to 30 times more selective. Read that again, okay? Out of 100 local businesses, ChatGPT recommends about 1. Everyone else is invisible. And here's the part that should really get your attention. Ranking well on Google does not mean you show up in AI. In the retail businesses they studied, fewer than half the brands winning on Google also showed up in the AI answers. So if you've spent 5 years building your Google rankings, well, congrats. But that win doesn't automatically carry over to AI. It's a different game with a different scoreboard. And this is where the review thing comes back in, because the number one way AI decides whether to trust you enough to recommend you is your reputation, your reviews. And that brings us to the uncomfortable truth that I opened with. Okay, here's what most people get wrong, and I've seen it being repeated all over the internet right now. So the advice that you hear is get more 5-star reviews. Get your average as high as possible. It's a simple, clean answer, and it's also kind of useless in the AI world because AI systems don't trust star rankings the way humans do. A human will see 5 stars and think, great, trustworthy, wonderful. This is somebody who I'll at least contact. An AI sees a perfect 5-star with maybe, let's say, 200 reviews, and it's going to think, that looks kind of fake. It's been trained on mountains of data about which reviews are real and which are inflated. So a wall of identical, glowing 5 stars actually makes it more suspicious, not less. Here's the line I want you to remember. A business with 200 shallow 5-star reviews, and when I say shallow, I mean just a simple review from an unknown name, will lose to a business with 80 detailed, honest, maybe slightly mixed reviews. every time. And that's because the second one looks and probably is real. Businesses that ChatGPT actually recommends average around 4.3 stars, not a perfect 5. ChatGPT references reviews in 58% of its responses. Perplexity uses them 100% of the time. 74% of consumers only trust reviews from the last 3 months, and AI weights freshness the same way. So look at that first number. The businesses getting recommended average 4.3 stars, not 5. A 4.3 with real, recent, detailed reviews beats a suspiciously perfect 5-star review every single time. So if you've been chasing a flawless rating, I want you to relax because that's not the game anymore. So what is the game? Well, AI is looking at 5 things, and the star number is honestly the least important of them. So I want to give you all 5. First, volume. Not 1,000, but you do need enough that the AI has something to work with. The rough benchmark right now is at least 50 reviews to be taken seriously and 100 or more recent ones to really maximize your odds of getting cited. Below that, well, you're a rounding error, and the AI doesn't have enough signal to feel confident recommending you. So if you've got 12 reviews, here's your first job. They don't have to be perfect reviews. They just need to be real ones. And we'll get to how you can do that in just a minute. But let's move to the second point, which is freshness. This is the one that quietly kills good businesses. And I want to be upfront here. I've been guilty of this for my own business. Because you could have 150 reviews, but if the newest one is from 8 months ago, the AI reads that as a business that's gone quiet, maybe even closed. A steady trickle of 5 to 10 new reviews a month beats 200 old ones sitting there collecting dust. I keep saying this on every video about reviews, and I'm going to say it again. Recency is a signal. A business that's clearly active right now is a business AI feels safe recommending. Third is depth. Now, this is a big one that nobody talks about. AI reads the words inside your reviews. They don't just count the stars. A review that says great service, 5 stars, well, it tells it almost nothing. But a review that says they fixed our burst pipe at 11 p.m. on a Sunday and showed up in 40 minutes and the price was exactly what they quoted, well, that's gold. That tells the AI what you do, where, how fast, and that you're honest about pricing. So when you ask for a review, don't just say, hey, do you mind leaving us 5 stars? No, I want you to nudge them to mention the actual job. Hey, if you have a sec, it really helps when people mention what we did and how it went. That one tweak turns a useless review into one that AI can actually use to recommend you. And just a little aside here, even if it's not a 5-star review, even if the person gives you 4 stars to say maybe something that, hey, would have been 5 stars if their prices were a little lower, or would have been 5 stars because they ran a little late. That's a perfect opportunity for you to respond to that review. I'm going to get into that a little bit later as well. Fourth is consistency across all platforms. So AI doesn't just look at Google. It cross-references Google with Yelp and Facebook and Reddit and your website and other industry directories that you're in, and it's checking to see if the story matches. So your same name, same address, same phone number, similar reputation everywhere. So when your hours say one thing on Google and another on Yelp, or your phone number changed, let's say 2 years ago, and half your listings still show the old one, the AI loses confidence and quietly drops you. It can also pick up too, if you've been, kind of working the system a little bit on your Google reviews and you've got 5 stars with 100 reviews, but yet on Yelp, you're more like a 3. It looks at that inconsistency and it questions it, and then therefore it will not recommend. On ChatGPT and Perplexity, business profile info is only about 68% accurate. But on Gemini, it's 100% because Gemini pulls straight from Google Maps. Inconsistent info across platforms is one of the fastest ways to get filtered out. So that average customer now checks about 6 different review platforms before deciding. And to be upfront, AI essentially does the same thing. They just do it at scale and they do it in a fraction of a second. So if your information is a mess across the web, you fail to check that before reviews even come into it. And fifth, responding to reviews. I mentioned this earlier because you need to respond to every single one, good and bad. When you reply to a review and mention the actual project or the actual situation or service or anything specific, you're doing two things at once. First, you're showing future customers that you care. Plus, you're feeding the AI more real, recent, detailed text that confirms you're an active, legitimate business that does exactly what your reviews say. And if a bad review comes in, look, as I said, don't panic about it and definitely don't argue. You need to respond calmly. You need to offer to make it right. A handful of honest, mixed reviews with thoughtful responses actually makes you look more real to AI than a spotless wall of 5 stars. Remember, perfect looks fake. I want to give you actually a real world version of this. I worked with a building company. I'm going to keep them anonymous, but they had a 4.9 star average. They had a beautiful profile and they were proud of it. And honestly, they should have been. But almost all those reviews were 2 or 3 years old. They did a big push once. And what happened is they got a pile of reviews and that was it. They just stopped. So when we tested it, we asked the AI tools to recommend a business like theirs in their area, and they didn't come up at all because their competitor, who had a 4.5 star review with way fewer reviews, well, they kept getting named instead. And the simple reason is that competitor had fresh reviews coming in every month. They were detailed and they replied to all of them, even the bad ones. So the AI saw that as an active, busy, and real business. So how did we fix it? Well, to be honest, we didn't really do that much, anything fancy. What we did is we built a simple system to help them get a few new detailed reviews every month and then assisted them in responding to everything. So what happened was about 2 months, they did start to show up in AI answers. It was the same business, the same service. They just got back in the game with the reviews. All right. So let's do some actionable advice here. Let's make this doable. And here's what you should be doing. And let's start now. First, I want you to audit your freshness. I want you to look at your current Google reviews. When was your last one? If it's more than a month or two old, well, that is your number one fix, full stop. And as I mentioned, I'm guilty of this too. Sometimes it just gets away from me. Just before recording this video, I reached out to 3 of my customers who hadn't given us reviews yet, 4 reviews. So hopefully by the time this video is published, those reviews are on there and they're only a couple weeks old. Next, I want you to build a simple, repeatable ask. After every completed job, send a quick text or email with a direct link to your review page within 24 hours while it's fresh. Make it a habit, not a one-time push. And look, people are busy. They're going to look at your email and maybe they're not going to get to it right away. So you need to create a system that's going to remind them on a regular basis. Because if you don't get that review and as more time lapses, it gets forgettable. And next thing you know, you're asking somebody who maybe doesn't even remember the work you did, even if it was great. Ask for the stories and not just the star. So try to get people to mention like what you did and how it went. Like depth is what AI reads. If you have 2 detailed reviews, it's going to be 10 reviews that are just 5 stars with nothing. Clean up your info everywhere. So you need to search your business name plus your city. You need to check that your name, address, and phone number are identical on Google and Yelp and Facebook and anything else like the directories you're in. Fix anything that's out of date. We just moved our office a couple months ago, and I've been going through this on a regular basis just to make sure that we're all up to date on everything. And respond to every single review, good and bad. Mention the specific job. Mention the customer name if you have to. Set a 15-minute reminder once a week to just clear all that stuff out. And that's it. And by the way, I'm not sure if you noticed this, but there's something that's not on the list, and that is chasing a perfect 5-star average. You need to let that go. I want you to aim for real, recent, detailed, and consistent reviews. That's what gets you recommended today. And look, if you don't have time to do this, contact me. I told you earlier, how we helped a client who was basically invisible on AI get back in the game by augmenting their Google reviews process. And we can do the same thing for you. My contact info is in the description below. But here's the bottom line. The way people find businesses is splitting into two worlds. You have the old Google world and the new AI world. And your reviews are now the bridge between them. They're not just social proof for humans anymore. They're the filter that AI uses to decide if you even exist. But the good news is almost nobody is doing this right yet. Most of your competitors are probably still chasing perfect 5-star averages and wondering why nothing's happening. But now with this video, you know the real game. Volume, freshness, depth, consistency, and responses. If you fix those, you're going to be ahead of 98% of your market. Look, if this video helped, please do me a favor and hit that subscribe button. I put out practical, no fluff digital marketing for small business owners every week. And if you want to go deeper on the profile that feeds all this, I want you to watch my video on getting your Google business profile right. It's the foundation of everything we just talked about, and you can watch it right here.